Good morning or afternoon. Hello, welcome to tea time. This is me live on YouTube. I'm trying to catch my bearings a little bit. I'm just trying to get myself together. I'm in a different time zone, not my usual 1 hour or 3 hour difference, but major difference. So I'm gonna try to see if I can get my what do you call that, Eastern time zone persons online, because we want to talk about this. Yeah, we want to talk about all the things tea. And today is a topic that I am really passionate about. So I'm going to be trying to get my my Easterners on that would typically be on IG. So we're going live on IG as well. Of course, I'm have to figure this out while we're doing it, right? So know that I can depend on you guys to be patient with me. You're always so very patient. So here we are. I think we're gonna end up being live in both. This actually works pretty well from my lap, I would say. So welcome to Tea Time, guys. Good morning. It is Saturday, November 2nd. Mm. Um, it is actually afternoon for me, and quite honestly, the time zone difference has definitely got me adjusting. So right now I am in London, and in London it is 2 p.m. or just after 2 p.m. And so because of the shift to this other time zone, not by like usual 1 hour, I'm definitely trying to get myself together, right? So it's 2:22 here in London, and I'm really just happy to be able to connect with you guys. I wasn't calculating properly because normally I'd be on, I think, maybe an hour earlier than this. Either way, I'm here now. Hello, welcome. The tea that I'm having this morning, I literally, guys, I'm celebrating finding Starbucks. I think Starbucks may not be happening here in London. This is probably my fourth or fifth trip to London, and I'm almost sure that I used to see more Starbucks everywhere. But no, not so much. So I had to get a cup of tea from Starbucks because I went walking earlier, and saw the Starbucks, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, been here a whole 24, 48 hours and I hadn't seen a Starbucks." So got some mint citrus tea and some honey, and yeah, so I'm really feeling good um this morning. And then I already had my topic of conversation picked out. I knew I was going to be talking about stepping into greatness, and stepping into greatness in a new way. It's really about whether we choose to fail or to fly, or to kind of get stuck in the way that we think about it. So it's all about embracing the potential opportunities, embracing the shifts, the change that comes with committing to transformation, and letting go of the normal, of the comfort zone. And I feel that it's a space that I'm in now. I've been in it for a few years, maybe just now finally figuring out my day to day, building up some momentum. And this week in particular, the last couple of weeks, I've been feeling a lot of connection to this conversation about failing or flying. And while I was doing my morning routine, I actually found a little conversation I was reading um, in this book, which I highly recommend if you guys haven't read it yet. It's a small but very powerful book. It's called The Quantum Leap Strategy. It's written by the same person that wrote U Squared, which I've recommended before. And it's all about quantum leaping, the transformation in your life. And I typically read through the book at different points in time, over and over, depending on what I'm going through. And quite honestly, I've actually been in a really good space from a happiness perspective. I've been feeling a lot of deep joy and contentment while in the midst of a lot of what would feel normally like chaos and misery. But for some reason, um, I've been accessing just so much joy in the midst of a lot of external things happening. And so I kind of felt like, okay, I feel like I've quantum leapt where I was before, where I was still very heavily impacted by my external circumstances. Um, and now I'm stepping more into like I'm almost like I'm seeing myself. You know those movies where you literally see the person seeing themselves. Like I literally feel like I'm kind of in that space, because some days it's just like I feel like I'm not gonna recover, and then by the time I get to the evening after a really crappy day, I'm literally giggling and laughing about, oh my god, but I really am just so happy and I love my life. I was telling Honey Boo yesterday that if somebody was actually watching me, like on the outside watching me through my day to day, they'd probably think I had reached the going crazy phase of life. They'd probably definitely think that, because it sometimes kind of feels like, am I all here? Am I really having these experiences? And that's why I wanted to talk with you guys today about to fail or to fly. Um, so here's the thing. I've been an entrepreneur now for 2 full years. And entrepreneurship, as those of you who are, and when I say entrepreneur, I mean like you don't have a job. You're literally out there hunting and finding food in order to pay your bills, right? You run your own company. Um, you're negotiating for rates and so on. So that's what I mean when I say, you're an entrepreneur, you're a consultant full time, you don't have benefits, you're just kind of praying for wellness, right? Maybe you do. Maybe you've gotten your company to a size where you've been able to actually onboard benefits or whatever. But you know what I mean? Like you are the CEO, you are the CTO, the CFO, you're all the O's, and you're every manager, and you're every assistant, every director. You are that, right? If that is you, then I know that today's conversation is going to resonate with you 100%. If you are in corporate, have a job, and you're thinking about stepping out and doing something that is not corporate, this conversation is also for you. If you are in a relationship and it's not that you don't like the person, you probably even love the person, and you know that, boy, you kind of, this is it. The relationship has reached its peak and it's time for you to create something else, maybe with somebody else, because that's just where it is. And you're kind of struggling with that, then, this is also for you. Or maybe you are in this space of wellness and you know that you're supposed to be at another level, and you're just kind of feeling really good here, like, yeah, I like going to the gym and doing my hit, and I don't want to step into trying to lift more or going into cross training or take my body to the next level, even though it's calling. This conversation is also for you. It's really about that point when you're at that point. This is not a question of maybe you are ready for an ascension, or maybe you are ready to let go of the comfort zone. It's not a maybe. This is your comfort zone is literally painful. That's what's happening right now. Your comfort zone is literally painful, because it is literally like you're so ripe you're going to bust, because you just know that it's time to shift into something that is not this. But because of your external things, because of the uncertainty, because of the need to know what's next, because of the things that seem like, well, I can't because I have these line items that I have to make sure other people, I have to make sure are all, all the things. Because of those things, you need to be sat with. Now, something that's happening with me, which is where this tea started. I had a conversation with another entrepreneur a couple of weeks ago. She's a good friend of mine. When I met her, she was actually just stepping out into entrepreneurship. I met her like 2015, 2016. And I don't know what was happening during that time of my life, but I had not too long moved back to Jamaica. And I was working for a corporation, right? And I was encountering a lot of entrepreneurs that were seeking to get to another level. I was being asked to either be on their boards, or I was asked to consult with them, etc. And so this is when I met this woman, and she was very successful. She was at a director level in a very large corporation, and she was now contemplating, or actually no, she wasn't contemplating, she had already made the decision that she was going to leave corporate, but she was now figuring out the moving parts and pieces and where she's going to find this food that she's going to have to hunt for, right? And we end up in a conversation because she actually had a skill set that I needed for my corporation, so I was looking to hire her. And, so she was talking about it and just kind of weighing pros and cons and whether or not she should do it. And I was like, well, I actually wanted to meet with you because I wanted to offer you a job. But if you are stepping out into consulting or whatever it is you're stepping out into, then, maybe I could be your first client, right? And the conversation continued, and she did become one of my vendors. And I just talked with her a couple of weeks ago because I gave a recommendation for her to go into another corporate job. So she'd been an entrepreneur, she'd been in corporate, shifted into entrepreneurship, and then she was shifting back into corporate. And for me, it felt a little taboo. It felt like, what are you doing? Aren't you supposed to like be doing the entrepreneur thing now? Like, what's going on, And so we had a really beautiful conversation because I think in my mind, I had a belief that said entrepreneurship had to look a particular way. And I think that belief was heavily influenced by what I see in social media and in the news, where there is just this glorified perspective of what entrepreneurship is supposed to look like, and how often you're supposed to be online and how often you have to be running social media posts or running blogs or writing emails, and how many clients you have to have in the pipeline in order for you to succeed as an entrepreneur. Now, let me just qualify what I just said. I know that there are metrics that you have to follow, in order to fulfill getting deals and all of that, right? And I'm not a sales or business development person, people, so please do not judge me. I'm just saying, from a business perspective, I know that there are certain things that you have to do in order to hit your targets, right? But I think that outside of your traditional business kind of rules, social media has glorified what entrepreneurship is. It's glorified what running your own company looks like. It's not just glorified it, but it's made it seem like if you're not doing it that way, then you're a failure. I think there's a lot of PR out here that says that being a business owner or being out there on your own has to look a particular way. And on some level, even unconsciously, I think I subscribe to that. And so when I heard my friend telling me that she was shifting back into corporate after doing the entrepreneur thing, I was like, whoa, 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 we need to talk about this, girl. Are you betraying the tribe? Like, what's going on? Like, I'm over here, working it as best as I can, hunting, finding food, trying to find food, looking for ways to make more money to meet my targets, etc. And then here comes lady, like, hey, I'm going back over here because I'm not, the hunting and the finding food isn't working for this phase of my life. And I thought to myself, no, let's have a conversation. And so in the conversation with her, what I realized was how much of a box I had also started to put myself in, put other entrepreneurs in, put people in when it came to the discussion of how you create the work experience, how you create your self expression experience for yourself. There are so many opportunities now that allow you the flexibility that maybe you don't think you can have with work in corporate. But, I would have to examine that because, again, that's just a belief. That's just a thought that maybe I've heard or thought over and over again. And so now I believe it. Right. And so I started to examine myself as I was having a discussion with her about, well, what is my fear of stepping into maybe a corporate role instead of just keeping this hunting thing going? Is it that I'm afraid that I'll lose the flexibility that I have now that I really enjoy? The fact that I can be sat in a space of 2 months, I can be sat in the US and then sat in and different states, sat in Atlanta, and then sat in Miami, and then sat in Vegas, and then, oh, I'm sat in Canada, and now I'm sat in London. Am I afraid that I'm going to lose that flexibility and that opportunity to work from anywhere? Maybe it's because of that fear that I have locked myself into this box of, well, I have to be an entrepreneur. I can't be back in corporate where I may have other needs that could get satisfied at this point in time. So I started to examine that lens, and what I realized is that I had set myself up for failure already before even attempting at what could be on the other side of work for me. Let me say that again. I had accepted that the way I was experiencing some things in entrepreneurship that weren't working for me, that it was okay, well, I guess this is just how I have to be with it, because if I look to go back into corporate, then I'd be failing. I'd be failing as an entrepreneur because I've now decided to go back into corporate, right? And I I had to start questioning those beliefs. Let me explain something to you guys. We have these thoughts that we think over and over and over again. Those thoughts become your beliefs. How do I know this? Because I was a Christian traditional for a very long time. And it came after I was a Catholic for a very long time, after I was Anglican for a very long time. And over each of those different religions, my beliefs changed. And the reason those beliefs changed is because my thoughts about them changed. And the reason my thoughts about them changed is because the people that were telling me what to think changed. And so it is with every area of our life. You get told what to think. Between, you arrive, your parents tell you, your grandparents tell you, you go to church people tell you, your school people tell you. So you get taught what to think. Some people rebel against the things that they are taught, right? But you get taught what to think. And then as you're moving through life, you get stuck in those thoughts. Those thoughts become beliefs. And even when those beliefs don't really line up with what you're seeing, you still kind of go along with them because you're afraid that if you don't go along with them, then you're going to get cast away from the herd, which of course means death, right? Community is your herd. And then if you get tossed from the community, it means death. And then it just kind of rolls with you like that in life. And so here I am in my 40s now. When I look back, I've gone through so many different beliefs, and I'm currently sat in the belief of entrepreneurship. Before I was sat in the belief of entrepreneurship, I was sat in the belief of corporate. But here, what am I telling you now, guys? What I realize is that when I get stuck in these belief systems, it also keeps me stuck in my modus operandi. It gets me stuck in wanting to explore other things. It gets me stuck in feeling like I'm going to fail if I step out of this comfort zone that is based on the beliefs that I've now created, that are based on the thoughts that I've been thinking that may or may not be true. Oh, I hope I'm not just rambling here, because I'm feeling so passionate about it this week, because I've just see it playing over and over again, not just with me, but with other people in my life. If you're just joining, I'm currently enjoying a mint citrus tea from Starbucks, right? With honey in it. That's my choice today. I'm also currently sat in London. I'll be here for the next few days. I'm speaking at a conference on Tuesday. And yeah, I'm in the space of, am I willing to embrace the possibility of failing so that I can experience the probability of having to fly into my next experience, right? I don't know, guys. I show up here most Saturdays. We're approaching 1 year since I've been doing this tea time thing. And I experience a lot of fear in my life. I experience a lot of I can't do this. I mean, I experience a lot of fear. Sometimes crippling fear, sometimes fear that is so crippling that it makes my heart hurt because I know I'm stuck. And I think I went through a lot of that coming out of the pandemic. I was overworked, burnt out, stressed out, not connecting with the practices enough. The practices that I talk about here on the show, not connecting with it enough. Um, and when I was going through that, there was also a lot of discord in my life, a lot of upset. I remember I was president of a tech organization at the time in Jamaica, and I was having a really hard time. I was experiencing a lot of adversity, a lot of prejudice, and it was hard. And I would go home a lot of evenings and I'd be crying. I wouldn't sleep at nights. Um, but I had work to do, and I know that in my heart I really wanted to finish the work that I had started. The pandemic would have been a great excuse to to just leave and say let's resume when things are gone back to normal. But there were so many people that needed help, and I just felt like I needed to keep pushing through. But coming out of that experience, when I left the presidency, I felt a lot of uncertainty. I just felt lost. I just felt like I didn't know who I was anymore. And maybe many of us were going through that. I still had my job. I was still very well paid. I was still in my corporate role. I was doing good from that perspective, but I felt empty a lot. I felt a lot of emptiness. I felt like I was supposed to be stepping towards something, and I felt afraid of what it was. I was concerned about leaving work and not being able to take care of my kids, because they're always the first thing in my head. And am I going to be able to feed them, clothe them, send them to school? And it just felt crippling, debilitating, sad. Um, I felt lost. And I felt like I didn't know who could help me, you know? I didn't know who to talk to. I mean, I talked to Honey Boo, yes, but I just felt like I know I think maybe I felt like I was just constantly criticizing my life at the time. And one of the things that I was grappling with during that period, I was grappling with whether to be in tech boss Stacy, or to be in lifestyle mindfulness, living with intention Stacy. And I felt like it had to be one or the other. I couldn't. And then you throw it, like being an entrepreneur, like how is that going to pay the bills? And it was just horrible. Horrible, guys. Honestly, the feeling of it, the mental anguish. And then as I came out of 2022, I started to make some decisions. I decided that regardless of what happened, I was going to step into entrepreneurship. I just I just decided, like, what the hell? How am I gonna know if I don't do it? Like, I'm gonna just sit down here in my head. Like, I'm not gonna know. At least if I know, then I can have a conversation with myself that says, well, this is what the experience was like. But me sat here in my head was not helping me at all. All of the unknowns, all of the questions, all of the uncertainty, all of the things that prevent us from choosing us was preventing me from choosing me and from believing in myself, and just getting wrapped up in the cords of self-doubt. And so I recognized that I was stuck in the fear of letting go of this comfort zone, which was uncomfortable, but it still felt like it's a known. And you know what? When I was talking to my friend the other day, and she was telling me about going back into corporate, I realized that the way I was thinking about the letting go was not the way I should have been thinking about it. I wasn't giving myself a chance to look at the opportunity, right? And so I realized, I was like, but wait, I could be looking at this through the lens of what I need right now to create what I want. And I thought to myself, well, if what I need right now is steady, predictable revenue or steady, predictable income at a particular level that says corporate, or it says a really amazing retainer with somebody that's like corporate that gives me all the things that I want, while I'm also over here building my platform and building my business and making my candles and doing, like, could it look like that, Stacey? Could it be that again? You know, and then it's like, oh, but then what are people gonna say? Like that thought comes up for me too, guys. The thought comes up for me, whether I pay attention to it or not is a whole other story. But it does come up for me. What are people? Weren't you talking about the freedom of entrepreneurship? And I'm like, you know what? Swipe that thought, like on Tinder. Let's just no, no to that thought. Okay, I'm not on Tinder. Disclaimer. Okay. But yeah, so I did a swipe with that thought, and I got to this place of, okay, so yeah, the fear of letting go is still there. And at the same time, I feel like maybe I could allow myself to sprout some wings to fly. Maybe I could, shift from needing to know exactly what it has to look like on the other side of entrepreneurship to just taking that next step. So, what are the next steps? We're going to start applying for some jobs. We're going to start calling up people and sharing, hey, I'm looking for something that'll give me some steady revenue. Like, what's the next natural, practical step I can take that will have me moving towards the something that I may not know, but at least away from where I'm sat right now. So I feel like I'm making like a progress. What's the next thing that I could do? It may not be fully embracing the uncertainty, because for some of us, we're not really ready to embrace it just yet, but we certainly are willing to take that natural next step without anybody having to push me there, or you start to notice where you're paying attention to the little breadcrumbs. I call them Jesus breadcrumbs, the little breadcrumbs that get dropped in front of you, and when you pick up the breadcrumb, it's almost like a light appears for the next step to take. So when I was talking to my friend and she was saying, yeah, I'm going back into corporate, and she was like, thank you for the recommendation. Because that's how I found out she was going back into corporate. Somebody called me and was like, hey, would you recommend so and so? And I was like, oh, yes, I would. And then oh my gosh, what's going on? You're going back into corporate, right? So when I had the conversation, what I came away with was, at different points in your life, you're going to need to achieve different things. And whatever it is that you are reaching for, think about it. You're reaching for something. There is a desire that you have. The desire is not entrepreneurship. Mm-mm. The desire is not corporate. The desire is not necessarily new boyfriend or new girlfriend, or it's not necessarily, that's not what you're actually reaching for now. What you're actually reaching for is freedom, or you're reaching for peace of mind, or you're reaching for excitement, adventure, fulfillment, joy. You're reaching for living. That's it. You are just, that's what you are reaching for on the other side of this thing that you think you are trying to do. That's all it is. And where you are currently, you had a great experience of it, or maybe even not so great experience of it, but you're feeling that stretch of the comfort zone. And so now you know that it's time to make that I don't want to call it a leap because for me, guys, I am not into this big leap story. People keep talking about make the leap. No, sometimes all I can do is reach over to the ledge and catch on the ledge. Sometimes that is all I have available to me, right? So in this moment, in this now moment, maybe it is that you are reaching for the next thing. And what's important to recognize is what you're actually reaching for. What are you reaching for? Are you reaching for peace of mind? Are you reaching for joy? Are you reaching for adventure? Are you reaching for excitement, pleasure, satisfaction, freedom? Can you sense what it is your soul is calling for in this moment? I can sense my soul is calling for ease. With whatever I'm doing, I want ease as I'm building. I know what I'm building. I just decide this year I'm gonna build a tech platform, and I want to be at ease while I'm doing it. And people will tell me that, oh, that don't add up. You don't. The two things don't add up. It's gonna be hard, and it's gonna take you 10 years, and it's gonna be no bullshit. I'm not subscribing to that. Maybe that's your truth, but I'm not accepting that. I want ease and flexibility. Yes. Will there be moments of urgency and feelings of pressure? Yes, there'll be moments of that, but that's not going to be the majority experience. I refuse to accept that belief. The thoughts associated with that are yours, they're not mine. So, like, I've specced it out, guys, and I've gotten the feedback about the journey and what the journey has to look like. The journey look like that for them, but it don't have to look like that for you. So I know that my soul right now is calling for ease as I create. And it doesn't matter what I'm creating. That's what I want. I want ease in my creating. And where do I feel this ease? Several different things I can pinpoint off the bat in my own life now that I feel this ease around. I do not like having to go out and find new clients. I don't like it. It does not bring me joy. I don't like having to go out there and make a list of all the people I need to call today so that I can get a certain percentage of that number of people so that I can land one sale. Me not like it. It does not give me a juiced up energy and make me feel good all over. Some people actually like that stuff. I ain't one of them people. I would prefer for you to bring me the client or for the clients to come and be knocking on my door. Please sell me what you have. And then I can just deliver the work. And somebody else can count all the coins. I want to know what the coins are, but somebody else can do that part too. Just count the things and just put the money where it's supposed to go so I can spend it. That's not so bad, I don't think. I know some of you are watching and you're like, Stacey, that's not how it works. Well, guess what? I'm here to tell y'all that's what I'm creating. So whether it is that looks like being in corporate, or it just looks like I have landed an amazing business development person and they just find all these wonderful opportunities that fill my, my entrepreneurship vessel, and I don't have to think about where the next money is coming from. It doesn't matter to me. What I'm seeking is ease. You get what I'm saying, guys? And sometimes we get so stuck in thinking that the thing that is going to give us access to the feeling that we're after, what our soul is calling for, we get stuck in trying to figure out getting to that thing. So the first thing you have to do is you have to really identify what is your soul calling for, because you will jump over into something, doing something that doesn't actually satisfy your soul's calling. You will. I literally thought I had to give up my tech boss self. I had convinced myself I have to give up tech boss Stacy to be media mindfulness intention Stacy. That's not true. I'm no longer living that lie. I'm still my tech boss self, and I am mindful media person. Oh, I should create a company called Mindful Media and just stick Epic inside of that. What do you think? Good idea, right? Mindful Media. Anyway, you heard it here first. So all of that to say, guys, in order to really let go of the fear of letting go and the fear of losing that comfort zone space. You need to identify what your soul is calling for. When you are clear of what your soul is calling for, then it will be easier for you to not to shift away from needing to know exactly how it's going to pan out. Because what you're now attracting into your life is your soul's calling. It is that freedom, that ease, that excitement, that fun, that adventure, that whatever the thing is that you're looking for, it is that freedom that you're trying to find, right? Um, one of the ways that you can do that is to, think of something that you're absolutely interested in trying to feel, but you're uncertain about it. Maybe you're not quite sure of how to get there. Maybe you don't even know what you're trying to feel. If you find yourself saying, oh my God, I'm just so tired, then what you're looking for is ease. You're looking for rest. Tiredness sometimes equals you're looking for freedom from what you're currently dealing with. So pay attention to what you're complaining about, right? Pay attention to what the discomfort is, right? And then see what is the opposite of that. If you don't know, you can Google it. Like, come on, guys, Google best friend Google. And then you want to start to say, okay, well, what are the different ways that I can access that? And just do a brainstorm. You can do the brainstorm. I usually recommend doing the brainstorm by yourself first, or you can go co-intelligence. AI is great for helping to be a thinking partner, right? Or if you have a great spouse that's a good thinking partner, or a good girlfriend or guy that's a good thinking partner, where they're going to challenge you around the words that you're using, around the thoughts that you're thinking. If that kind of thinking partner, then yeah, you can use somebody like that to help you kind of jog the way that you're looking at things, right? So first things first, again, just really tap into what your soul is calling for. Your soul is not calling for a job. Your soul is calling for what you believe is on the other side of that job. Your soul is not calling for a new man or a new woman. Your soul is calling for what you believe is on the other side of having that person. Okay. Your soul is not calling for a big bag of money, even though I know we think that's what it is. Your soul is calling for what's on the other side of that money. Right. So think about that, and then do some thinking partnership work. Either you're thinking with yourself, you're thinking using co-intelligence, like AI, or you're thinking using a thinking partner, like a friend. Me, I'm a good thinking partner. I'm available, kind of ish. Tea time is a great place for us to do thinking partner stuff together. And coming up for the new year, I'm going to be doing some thinking partner stuff where you guys will get a chance to work with me more closely on transforming your life. But yeah, so you get a thinking partner to help you work through all the different ideas, and then you just pick something to move towards. Pick one or two things to move towards. So for me, I shared about tapping into what my soul is seeking. My soul is seeking ease. It's seeking ease in a particular way, and I've done some thinking around what that could look like. I've done a lot of it on my own. And what I've been using thinking partners for is just to kind of put out there, hey, I'm thinking about doing this. If you know anybody, just let me know, because I'll apply, or I'll reach out, or I'll connect, or whatever. Okay. And then the third thing that you do after you've kind of gotten your thinking partner is to make sure that you have something that you do every day to help you stay closer to the potential of flying and further away from the fear of failing, right? So you want a daily practice that's going to help you get closer to the potential that you have of flying and further away from the fear of failing. Those daily practices can include journaling, pulling an intention card, right? Oh, this is a good one. I am grateful. That's good. Yeah. So pick a daily practice and let it help you to cement, to solidify the fact that you are willing to take this next natural step, that you are willing to move away from what's become the norm towards what could potentially be your new. Okay. So that's my time today, guys, for tea time. I did want to make a couple of quick announcements. I'm looking to be on YouTube full time for these sessions. So I'm gonna start setting up my lives a little bit earlier and then sending you guys that join on IG the link. My YouTube channel is finally ready for me to be taking more advantage of it. I'm gonna post the link in my stories afterwards so that you can go and check it out. It is really all about changing your life, change your mind, change your life. We're all about mindful transformation through the power of intention. That's what we're up to. And so I'll be doing a lot more on that channel. That's also where I'm going to be getting ready for Intention Day. Intention Day is January 2nd. So we're exactly 2 months away. Today's November 2nd. We are exactly 2 months away from Intention Day. And unlike previous years, I'm literally going to be talking about Intention Day from November, because we got to get ready, guys. It's 2025. This is a time of year where everybody wants to do that big reset. If it is that this is when you are going to choose to fly, it's a great time to stay connected to the show, to Tea Time. Stay connected to my page, because there's going to be lots happening, and stay connected to my YouTube channel. So hop on over to YouTube and subscribe so that we can do this thing together. I'm going to be making some shifts in my life, guys. Well, all the same, me always I make shifts, so no used to me by now. But I have some new shifts coming up, and I want you to be a part of it. I want you to be a part of my journey. And I want us to spend that time together being each other's thinking partners and mindfulness partners and accountability partners. I'm willing to take that journey with you, at least between now, November, and the end of January. So we're going to be doing this together, guys, and I can't wait to hear all of the amazing success stories that you'll have to share. Okay, so thanks so much for joining today, guys. In conclusion, you really want to make sure that you're stepping away from fear and into the possibility of flying, right? So don't be worried about the failing part. Just know that you are meant to fly, you are meant to soar. Okay, so you definitely want to do that. I encourage you to go back and watch the replay. Of course, I'll be putting out the shorts for this conversation, but just make sure that you're tuning into that. How do you do that if you're fearful right now? If you don't know what step to take right now, the first thing to do is to identify what your soul is calling for. The second thing to do is to get a thinking partner so you can work through some of the ideas of how you can step closer to what your soul is crying for. And then after that, we want to make sure that you're prioritizing at least one daily practice, one daily mindfulness practice that is going to get you closer to actually achieving your dreams and further away from the fear of failure. Okay. All right, guys. So that's my time today. Thank you so much for joining. I'm really, really happy for you to take the time out of your day and to be here talking about this stuff with me. Appreciate you, and have a wonderful, wonderful Saturday and enjoy the week ahead. Take care, guys.